Okay, so welcome to SAS Savvy. Today we're going to be talking about SAS Savvy's pharmaceutical portal. As you may know, I'm in the pharmaceutical industry for extended length of time, and so what I try to do is try to add knowledge and useful information tips into SAS Savvy, specifically in the pharmaceutical portal section, and that's what I want to introduce today. And so what I've done first of all is I've brought up the mind map. Now this mind map is a very a generalized mind map. For the most part, our clinical trials will follow this to some degree. And what I want to do is I just want to, and again, introduce you to it. It's got a lot of information, a lot of hyperlinks. The advantages of the mind map is that visually you can kind of see how things are being related, and it serves as a nice way to communicate the things that need to be done. And so starting off with clinical case report forms, what all needs to be done, mapping to the data sets, and we'll be talking about these in detail. In particular, the lab data, there's a lot of things that need to be done with that in relationship to visit windows and things like that. Statisticians looking for how to make the study design more efficacy. There's some links associated with that. Baseline, that becomes very important, again, especially when we're talking about lab data. And for each of these things, what I try to do is I try to find the best resources available on the internet, whether it's, again, SAS website or SAS paper. And we'll take a look at that because I think you can really benefit from that. A lot of techniques, a lot of resources available. And so why reinvent the wheel? Other things that are required in a regulatory environment, define.xml. We'll be talking about CDISC. Here we have a little bit of PK. Some of these things, if you know about ODS, there's some references to ODS. So basically, this is a whole separate section. We have the SAS procedure section. We have the SAS topic section. We also have the common frequently asked questions. And then this fourth part is specifically for the pharmaceutical industry. And so because there's a lot of papers, a lot of good references on that, so that's why I've made it very separate. So we'll be going through that. QC, that becomes very important, generation of listings. And so what I'm going to do is, again, basically introduce you to this pharmaceutical portal. Just so that you get more familiar with it, I do encourage you to spend some more time going through that in more detail. So first of all, going into project management. Project management is very important. You need to know that from the very beginning. And again, I'm going to go into some of the links that I've created. So for example, this one, how to write standard operating procedures. It does a great job of going through all the things that need to be incorporated in standard operating procedures. And so you should be aware of these things as everybody is required to follow that. Quite often there's a set of standard operating procedures that training becomes an important concept, just like what we're doing today. And so again, I have a good reference to that, and I want to encourage you to view that in more detail. So here again, the project management flow. So going into the program index file, these are again best practices. And so you see these as more and more companies adopt best practices. You see some excellent papers on these various topics. So again, take a look at this. Program index is a concept that is very useful for putting together a list of all of the programs and then doing project management. It's very important to keep track of all these things and see what the status is. So again, I'm going to be introducing you to these things because these are the best practices on these topics. And I do encourage you to go through this in more detail. This is another paper on variable attribute file. Let me go into this. And then no more typing here. So again, taking advantage of metadata, which I very much encourage you to do that. So the whole objective of working in the pharmaceutical industry is put together an assembly line of data sets, tables, listings, and graphs. And the more you can automate and standardize the process, the more efficiencies gains that you can realize. I'm just going to go through a few other papers, tables, and lists. So again, this is taking advantage of ODS and the templates. So there's a lot of things, these are applications. So the concept of using ODS, the concept of using proc report, all these being applied, and macro techniques, all these being applied concisely in order to generate some desired output and meet the deadlines. So what I've done is I've assembled all these things and just kind of organized it for you. This is a great general macro utility paper that R. Carpenter has given. And what I've also done is also included some flow diagrams just so that it's kind of a good reminder for the senior level people and also for junior level people getting into the pharmaceutical industry. It's a great jump start because from here they can see, they can understand what exactly is going on. They have expectations that can be met, and so it's very nicely documented. Basically, these screenshots are directly from my course notes, which is a 2-day course notes, and so I find it very helpful to convey that. As always, each of these blog pages have a list of excellent papers, so I continuously add on to that. Again, these, I find some useful information in each of these papers, so I do encourage you to go through them. Okay, so next we're going to be talking about CDISC. As you may know, CDISC is getting to be soonly required for pharmaceutical and for FDA submissions. While it's impossible to go through a detailed course on CDISC in the amount of time that we have, again, I want to introduce you to the concept. I put this together to show you the different types of data sets, the domains that are there. Basically, what we're looking at is much more standardized approach to collect and organize the data. And then from that, we have a basis of generating analysis and reports. So it's important to understand what the terminology is. And so what I try to do is I put in here the different types of CDISC classes, examples, descriptions, the domains that are listed over here. And not only that, as I get access to information from CDISC and from FDA, I also put links into various guidelines and things like that. And if I find some things that are very useful, such as this, where you can check for compliance, if I find very useful macros, then I also provide links to those macros, because again, you do want to take advantage of resources that are available on the internet. Along with that, let's see what I want to do. Okay, go back over here. Along with that, I wanted to also indicate that there's many guidelines available from CDISC and from FDA, and so this website serves as an excellent reference to get access to those guidelines. As I get information on the most current versions, then I also will put that in here. So again, very easy to get information on what you need on CDISC, right available to you. Define.xml. So as you see, I continuously add papers. I recently went to PharmaSug, and there's a lot of great information, content in there, and so I make additions on a regular basis. These are things for proc CDISC. Again, you want to take advantage of this, so I've listed the benefits of them. If you do have the SAS Clinical Toolkit, then these are some of the things that you can do with the SAS Clinical Toolkit. I have a little bit of the syntax over here for proc CDISC. And so simple examples, they go a long way. Once you get a simple example working, then you can make modifications as needed for the options. Other useful references that are right here, you have syntaxed 9.2, 9.3 version, or you have the reference on SAS's website for the clinical toolkit. Also, I have some other information. This is a full list of the papers that are available on CDISC. So as you can see, there's a wealth of information that's available for you to access. So it's a matter of having a question, trying to find some answers to it, and then hopefully using this as a starting point as members. You want to take advantage of this. So again, these are like the best papers on the various topics, and so going through them, you can really make tremendous productivity. Okay, let me see. Let's go back to the main page. Now we're talking about CDISC. So